Good evening. Welcome to the Real Money Doctor's Daily Recap, where I touch base on all the things that really affect how you get, protect, and enjoy your life, money, and retirement, and what's been happening today that really affects those things. And we'll go from there and see what happens. Again, the first normal thing that nowadays is normal anyway is COVID-19. It's all over the news. It's going to be affecting the country for quite a while. Right now, the U.S. death cases, or U.S. cases anyway, of COVID-19, confirmed cases are 21,000. They've hit over 21,000. 10,000 of those by themselves are in New York State alone. Right now, as of today, there's 201 deaths. Okay, we got 50 cases confirmed in all 50 of the states, obviously. Stay-at-home orders, that was a big thing yesterday. It is getting to be a bigger thing now. Right now, New York, California, Illinois, and now New Jersey, Colorado, Georgia, and Idaho all have stay-at-home orders. This is all for non-essential workers. And you have to really check with the locality in your individual state to find out what non-essential actually means in those specific areas. What else is going on here? From the sounds of things, what it appears to be, it looks like a good 40 to 80% of the population will be infected at some point in time. That's with everything else going on, 40 to 80% of the population is going to be infected with COVID-19 at some point in time before this is all over and done with. Now, we've already touched base on it before. I'm going to say it again. This virus can live on inanimate surfaces for up to 9 days. That's a car handle, a door handle at a store, a can on a shelf. Wherever somebody happened to have coughed before, or they coughed in their hand and then touched something, okay, that virus can live there for 9 days and you can still pick it up and get infected from it. So just be aware of that. The incubation period is 14 days. Okay? So this is a slow moving thing in that you can be infected and not even know what's going on. Not for 14 days. Now, right now, there is no vaccine. Not likely to be a vaccine. It's way too early. Probably not going to see a vaccine for at least 12 months. Also, there are no direct treatments right now for COVID virus, and don't expect them anytime soon either. They can come up with any combination of drugs, and you'll hear about this, okay, from various politicians. Okay, it's not the case. Okay, being hopeful is different than having actual science. And you can hope all you want, but you know, I hope there's a unicorn coming. Okay, and I hope for a leprechaun with a pot of gold, but I don't see those things happening. Okay, the reality is, okay, any treatments for the virus themselves, they're not approved, they're not studied, there's no empirical data to suggest these things actually work. And until those things occur, there is no real treatment. There is a lot of hope, but hope doesn't count for much these days. Okay, now, when this came out originally, it was all going to be, it was the senior citizens. If you're over 65 or you got an immune system problem, chances are you can get it and you're going to be, you know, critically ill from it. Well, lo and behold, as data starts to come in with more testing, it seems as though, according to people in New York State anyway, people that are 18 to 49, now that age group, 54% of the cases of confirmed cases of COVID-19 are in that age group. So even if you're younger, you can still get this thing. Without a doubt in the world, you can still get this. And remember, get a 14-day period where you can be infecting somebody else. So even if you're young and invincible, that's great. But who else are you coming in contact with? Okay, your parents, your grandparents. You can infect those people. Okay, still having problems with protective equipment, obviously, and a bed shortage. The CDC, again, told people, the medical professionals, they posted on their site, and it was picked up yesterday, I told you the day before, that they were suggesting scarves and bandanas. Some medical professionals are trying to sterilize disposable equipment at this point in time, which is just a recipe for disaster. They can try and get it to last, but you know, all these healthcare workers are at serious risk when you try and reuse a disposable item. You can get by with it for once or maybe twice, but you're really pushing the limit on what you can do with disposable equipment. Now, the politics of this. Politics plays a big part in any of these type of situations. I'm not trying to be political on one side of the aisle or the other. It's just there's a certain reality in place and when there's politicians involved. Now, some politicians will get on and give you a dramatically rosy spin. Then, oh yeah, these things are happening. They're happening soon. We're doing all these things. We're getting all these masks out. We're getting all these tests out. Okay. All that sounds wonderful. However, if you're on the front lines in any municipality, in any state, and you're looking for those things, they don't exist. The same way with the combined medical treatments, they don't exist. So pay attention to the medical professionals when you want medical advice. Okay? If you want somebody to pat you on the head, go listen to the politicians, no problems at all. But it's not going to do anything for you. You want real solid advice. You need that from strict professionals that are in the field who know what's going on, who are not trying to bias things one way or the other. Now, again, there is no treatment. I don't care what the politicians say. There is no immediate treatment. There is not going to be any immediate treatment anytime soon. You're looking, again, 6, 8, 9, 12 months out for a vaccine and for some of these tests to be completed to see what the efficacy of combined medications might be on this particular virus. The president 2 days ago signed a Defense Production Act. It's a lovely act used in wartime that the government can compel individual industries, companies, to build things that the government needs. For some totally unknown reason, okay, the president signed it, which was very important, but hasn't implemented it. He hasn't compelled any companies to be doing anything at this point in time. So that's pretty much a problem, okay, because you can hope all you want, but again, until you force somebody to do some things, it's not going to happen. A little bit of the dirt's coming out. Again, I mentioned it yesterday. There's 4 senators, 3 Republicans, 1 Democrat, are accused of dumping stocks after they got official intel from an intel briefing back in January, and they dumped these stocks and made millions of dollars, or saved themselves millions of dollars before the market crashed. What else is going on? Oh, I had mentioned yesterday about a story I'd seen, and it is just now starting to break into the news. Not a lot of places are reporting it. It will come up a little bit more. It's a study that the government did. Health and Human Services did a study. It's a simulated war study called Crimson Contagion. It started in January 2019. It ran until August of 2019. So HHS knew about this stuff. The Trump administration knew about this. This is the Trump administration HHS companies, HHS people, okay, that did this study. Intel people, okay, briefed the Oval Office on this. They knew about this ahead of time. The results of that study showed that the U.S. was not prepared for this. And the study basically consisted of, okay, we're going to have a simulated group of people coming from China into the U.S., hitting Chicago, and then bang, we'll see what happens. And the exact same things that are happening right now are what were already predicted in this study. Now, I'm going to get you a link to this study. I'm going to post this on YouTube later on, and I'll have a link there, and you can see the actual reporting. I believe it says Chicago Tribune. I'm not certain, but I will post a link there. You can check it out for yourself. I don't make this stuff up. I spend 6 to 8 hours trying to track down the information for these things so that I've got some basis for what I'm telling you. The bailouts, okay, the financial bailouts from this situation. Now, chances are you remember a very short period of time ago, they did this giant tax act, major bailout. It was supposed to do tremendous things for the country. It did basically nothing for the country. All the companies that got these major tax breaks, they went and did a major stock buybacks, gave executive bonuses and more dividends. They were not out there reinvesting in the company, building more plant production, and increasing wages to any real effect at all. Now, there's a $2 billion, or actually $2 trillion bailout with a combination of things that are happening right now. The Republicans are on one side, the Democrats are on the other side. Where you sit, I don't know. I don't particularly care. I do know that if this goes through the way it currently is, the same thing that happened with the last Tax Act is going to happen again. Now, there are a number of people that are out there and they haven't been able to work. They have been laid off. There are more people that are going to be laid off. They need money. And sorry to say, it has to come from the federal government at this point in time. Now, Mark Cuban, of all guys, says the bailed out companies should never have been allowed to buy back their stocks, and they should never, ever be allowed to do it again. That's not from me. That's from Mark Cuban. This is from a business guy who makes money, who understands money, who knows that this is a tacky situation. So watch what happens with the politicians. Watch what happens with this bailout as it's supposed to be, and we'll see what happens. Now, you know the Dow went down 900 points on Friday. Took it back down to 2017 levels, basically where Trump was when he walked into the office. Again, it got a 32% drop in the last 3 or 4 weeks, basically 5 weeks. So none of those things are particularly good. If you're thinking about retiring, obviously that's not going to happen anytime soon. But your current concern is, how are you going to pay the bills next 6 months or so? Again, depending on what income status you happen to have, you're going through your credit cards, and then you're going through your liquid cash reserves. Depending on how much liquid cash reserves you are, is how well you're going to fare through all these things. After liquid cash reserves, people start tapping into their retirement accounts, and that money never gets put back. And you can talk to anybody who'd been through this before. It never gets put back to the same level as it was before. They have the best of intentions, but again, they have to deal with the reality of today and hope that something better is going to happen tomorrow. Now, the states and the cities and some municipalities are acting exceptionally responsible, except for some places in Florida, and they have beach communities. Everybody else, they're doing a really good job, a much better job than the federal government in directing what things to do, what things not to do. FEMA just started deploying fully equipped 250 bed 10 hospitals to some cities. There's a few scheduled for New York. There'll be a few scheduled someplace else. You can check and see what that's going to happen to be like in your particular state. But right now, FEMA is starting to deploy fully equipped 250 bed 10 hospitals. These are ready to go with equipment. Okay, so hopefully they'll have equipment and people also. Department of Labor for unemployment claims. As of last week, I want to read this directly. The Labor Department on Thursday reported 281,000 new unemployment claims for the week ending March 14th. Now, that was week ending March 14th, and here we are, the 21st. When the reporting comes in for this week, you can trust me, it's going to be considerably worse. And it's going to be worse next week and the week after. Now, we're coming up on the 21st right now. April 1st is coming up. And I'm a big small business person. That's been my history for 30 plus years, working with small businesses, 0 to 6 employees, mom and pop operations, the local contractors, the dentists, the doctors. Okay. The government classifies small business as people with fewer than 500 employees. Well, my small businesses don't have that many employees, but all these small businesses, even the ones with 500 employees and fewer, they are not sitting on tons of cash. A lot of families are working from paycheck to paycheck, from month to month. Employees and businesses have the same situation. They have a credit crunch, and they're trying to balance income coming in on one side and expenses going out on the other side, and they also use credit to pay things along the way. Okay. A lot of businesses rent their space. Rent is coming due on the first of the month. There will probably going to be some bankruptcies starting to happen in the coming month. We'll see what happens with that. Some of the stimulus package is supposed to ask for forbearance, but again, that hasn't exactly been passed yet. The details of that have not been worked out. Until they are, you don't really know what happens. And then when it does happen, you still don't know how the companies are going to use the money. Okay? So lots of uncertainty in that. Okay, doctors and healthcare workers. Okay, what you probably understand, but it's not the top of consciousness, is that doctors and healthcare workers have been seeing sick people for a while. That's what they do. They were seeing sick people 2 and 3 weeks ago. The incubation period for this is basically 14 days. So a lot of doctors and healthcare people that were seeing patients 2, 3 weeks ago are now going to start to show whatever signs and symptoms when they find out that they were exposed to this and they didn't even know about it at the time. So in the coming weeks, short weeks, expect to see more healthcare people dropping out because, again, they were exposed before they knew what was going on. This is not even on top of the shortage of equipment and the hours they're putting in right now and the number of sick people that they're seeing. This is before any of this really got big. Okay, they were exposed to all these things. And now chances are they're going to start to show signs and symptoms themselves. Okay, fewer healthcare people, fewer people take care of you. Now, social distancing. You have to treat everybody as though everyone were infected. There is basically no doubt that between 40 to 80% of the population will be infected with COVID-19 at some point in time. All the social isolation that people are trying to do when they lock down the states, all these stay-at-home orders for all these states, okay, shutting down the schools, trying to keep people away from each other. It's not so that you don't get sick. It's so that you slow the numbers that are reaching the hospitals at any point in time. That's the best they can do at this point in time. So understand that. Okay, chances are 40 to 80% of these people are going to get sick. You're one of that 40 to 80%, chances are. Social distancing, if you treat everyone that you meet as though they were infected, you'll be able to get your best chance of things and slowing things down for yourself as well as the entire system. If there's a certain social contract that we have with each other, okay, certain norms that we have, okay, we have laws, okay, and you don't murder and kill and you don't rob people, okay, certain things you don't do, okay. Well, in these times like this, going out when you don't need to, exposing someone else, or allowing yourself to be exposed to someone else is not a socially responsible thing. It's not part of the social contract. So again, everyone is just trying to slow things down because the sudden influx of that number of people in a hospital setting is going to cripple it almost overnight. So treat everyone as though they were actually infected. Keep your distance. Try and stay at home as much as possible. Okay. If you have to go to work, fine, go to work. Okay. Because you could be one of those essential services. People are counting on you. Clerks in a store, at a restaurant, or at a grocery store. You never knew these people were that important. Okay. They're terribly important. If they're not there, you can't get your stuff. Now, it's so bad that in one town, I believe it was Richmond, Texas, that they had a mile-long drive-up, and the police officers were handing out gallons of diluted bleach as sanitizers because they just can't find anything anywhere. So things can happen like that. They're not that bad in a lot of places, but they are that bad in some places, and you just have to understand the bigger picture. So be thankful for where you are, okay? And if you're not that bad, that's great, okay? But understand things are happening, and as there are shortages of supplies like that, okay, the local municipalities are the ones that are stepping up here without a doubt in the world. Now, we're only a week or so into this federal 14-day routine, okay? There's almost no doubt that this is going to be a 2 to 3 month issue. 2 to 3 months of problems. The schools are pretty much being shut down for the rest of the year. Don't expect them to reopen until September, and you don't even know what's going to happen then. The kids are home. What do you do with the kids? My wife does a little thing at 7:30 with bedtime stories. That's very helpful, but for younger kids. Older kids, if you get internet access, obviously if you're listening to me, you've got some type of internet access, okay, you can go on and find activities for kids to keep them busy during the day. This entire situation is going to be adding considerable stress, both physical and mental, to both the kids and yourselves. You need to protect yourself as much as possible. Keep your diet as good as possible. Okay. Keep taking some physical supplements, some vitamin supplements. Okay. Try to exercise. I know you can't go to the gym for those people who love to go to the gym. I was never a go to the gym person. I'd rather have a piece of equipment or two in the house. Okay. If you don't have equipment, not a problem. Go on YouTube and they have some type of step aerobics that you can do, some dance aerobics that you can do. Also yoga. Yoga is excellent. It's a non-stressful activity that you can ease yourself into. Keep you physically fit and busy at the same time. You're going to be stressed because of the money situation and the uncertainty of everything that's going on. Try and keep your sanity. One of the ways to do that is by writing in a daily journal every morning. Sit down, write, okay, what's different today than the same time last week, last year? How are you feeling today? Why do you think you're feeling that way? Write these things down. It will be surprising how therapeutic that little session could be for you. So give it a try. You'd be surprised at what it can actually do for you. What else? You're an adult. Yale is offering a free course called The Science of Well-Being. This is one of their biggest courses. Once they introduced it, it was the most popular course, and now's a good time that you can take it online for free. I'm going to post a link when I post this on YouTube, but The Science of Well-Being from Yale is a free course for an adult. This is a very useful thing. What else do you want to do at this point in time? Well, your life has been disrupted. It's about to be disrupted more as this continues. So now's a real good time to assess, okay, your plan A. What have you been doing for income all this period of time? There's a real good chance that your job situation is going to change considerably as this thing progresses. Whether you have a job or not, I don't know. Depends on the field. Is it going to bounce right back? Probably not. Okay, so it's going to ease up again. The same way that the stock market grew gradually and fell off very quickly, the job situation is going to grow very slowly again before it pops up. It fell off pretty quickly with these events. So now's a good time to assess your plan A. What do you want to do with your life? Chances are you probably didn't think about that. Most people don't because they're so busy with their job. Well, now you're not quite as busy with your job. Now some time to give some thought as to what you want to do with your life, your long-term goals. When you think about those long-term goals, then some of these daily activities, they're seriously inconvenient. Some are actually life-threatening, but you'll put them in a better perspective when you have long-term goals, and you can focus on those long-term goals. For income, you need a plan B. You've always needed a plan B, but you were so busy and thought things were going to last forever, like the sugar high from the stock market, it's going to go forever. Well, it doesn't. Okay, now's the time to give some thought to a plan B. Okay, there are tons of things you can do. I help people with a plan B. If I can help you, that'd be great. Website is drrousenow.com. You can take a peek at that and see if that's going to work for you. It doesn't work for everybody. Again, I'm in retirement right now. I can't help everybody. Okay, the nature of the program isn't that way, and it's not an immediate situation. But long term, it can provide some reasonable cash flow for you and possibly eliminate your original plan A. People are starting to pull together right now. You might not see it. Okay? If you go out at all, you will see it. But people are starting to pull together. And now's the time to check on family, to check on neighbors, to check on any elderly people. Now, before all these things happened to begin with, most elderly people, the kids moved out of the house. Some of them were out of state at this point in time. And you don't get to check on grandmom as often as grandmom would like. Now's a good time to check on grandmom and grandpop. chances are they were feeling isolated before. This is not helping them in any way, shape, or form. They're going to see some real serious isolation at this point in time. So you want to give a check on those folks. Give them a call, okay? It doesn't cost you anything to be nice. It really doesn't. And now's a good time to do that. Now, you're going to get through. You're going to get beat up along the way, but you're going to get through this. We got through 9/11. We got through Ebola. Okay, we're going to get through this too. So understand it. Yes, it's not a permanent situation. It's an uncomfortable temporary situation. Temporary is a relative term. It could be 3, 4, even 5 months or more. And then you don't know if it's going to restart again in the fall. But for now, understand that, yeah, you're going to get through. Okay, chances are you're not going to die even if you do get sick. Chances are you're not going to die. You'll probably have just a mild case unless you've got some serious underlying conditions. If you do, really keep people at great distances. So that's pretty much it for today. I'll be back here tomorrow. I will get this posted to Facebook or to YouTube later on today, and I'll provide the links to that Crimson Contagion story, which is really a big deal, and a link to the YALE course, which could be very useful, and you might actually enjoy it. So thank you for your time. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Make sure you just share this with your friends. All right, bye now.